Okay. What are some mistakes that you see new junk removal business get into as far as SEO?
Well, I love that. I thought you were going to ask just in general, and I've got some words on that too. It's going to go back to hunters and gatherers. Um, but SEO wise, there is so much information out there, and there's so many different ways to do it. I would say the biggest mistakes I see is three have kind of popped into my head right now. Assuming that just having a website is going to bring you leads, so you just pop up a one page website and you assume it's going to rank. Let's dive into that a little bit. Google does not rank websites. Google ranks pages. So eventually you want to have a page for every single service that you offer, every single location that you service. Because if someone's looking for, you know, cabinet removal in Philadelphia or piano removal, if you have a specific page for piano removal in Philadelphia, you're going to rank a lot better than if you just have a general one page website that lists that you do piano removal, but it's just like a bullet point in a list. So that's a mistake I see a lot of people making is they're like, oh, I got a website. Google obviously doesn't work because, I'm not getting any leads. Or they just assume that, as soon as they throw up a website or social media, everybody's going to come flocking. That's a big mistake. The second is with the two tools that are out there, it's become so accessible to do SEO, but I find that people are relying too much on the tools. Let's take AI, for example, writing content. You can really, really cut down your writing cycle by using AI to give you, maybe a page outline. You might even write a lot of the content, but you then have to go in and human optimize it. Is it more interesting than your competitors? Does it provide more data? Does it provide more information than your competitors? Or is it just a cut and paste, potentially hallucinatory AI, gobbledygook paragraph? Or is it, have you gone through and made it actually relevant to your business, relevant to the area, got the keywords in it and everything? So a lot of people are like, hey, I can crank out 20 pages in an hour. Yeah, you absolutely can. But did you add relevant pictures? Did you optimize the pictures? Did you go through the text and make sure it made sense and wasn't repeating itself? Did you add stuff that is specific to your business? So that's a big one. And then the third one would be backlinks. So backlinks is when a website links back to your website. Your Google business profile linking back to your website is technically a backlink. When a chamber of commerce links back to your website, that's a backlink. You can also go on Fiverr and you can buy 1,000 backlinks for $10. Not all backlinks are created equal, and quantity is not everything. Quality is way more important. And what we look at is it local, is it relevant, or is it just a good high powered website that's pointing back to yours? And so you can't shortcut it. In fact, shortcutting it can hurt you more than it can help you. And you may as well just not have spent that money and time and just taking the time to form relationships, get links back to your website and go about it that way. So I got a little bit technical and nerdy on that part, but those are some of the mistakes that I see people doing in SEO.
Oh, that is some good tips. And I've actually heard we had Ronnie Knuckles on recently,
Ronnie's
and
awesome.
he was actually saying in the last year, Google has changed what they're looking for as far as rankings, and it's quality over quantity. And they're
Definitely.
actually penalizing you against quantity because it used to be if you just had a bunch of backlinks and all that, you would rank higher. But they're actually now putting you down lower if you're just not quality backlinks and if you go too many of them.
For
Because
sure.
just like you were saying, people were just going and getting like 1,000 backlinks, putting it on their page, but now it's not really a good thing to do, and it's more of the quality. And he said somewhere in the range of like 15 to like 30 is like the prime area that you want to be as far as backlinks and all. Do you agree with that?
Quality 100%. Ronnie and I riff on backlinks all the time. I would say that there's no cap to how many quality links you can have. Um, SEO, again, it's SEO is a comparative game. You don't have to rank nationally for piano removal in Philadelphia, right? If you just serve Philadelphia, you don't have to rank nationally. So you just have to be more powerful and more authoritative than your competitors. So 15 to 30 might make sense in some markets. You might need 100 in other markets, depending on what your competitors are doing. Because ultimately, Google's looking at, out of all the ranking things that they look at, it's like who is the best, most relevant, most authoritative, most trustworthy website to serve up for piano removal in Philadelphia. And if you don't have as much authority in these different buckets that they're looking for as your competitors, you want to, close that gap and pass them a bit. So that would be the only caveat I would say to that. You don't need 1,000 backlinks typically for local ranking. You need, a smaller number of quality backlinks to outpace what your competitors are doing.
So, like let's back up a little. So, when a junk removal business gets in, and before they hire an agency, and kind of they just make their one page website, how much content should be on that website to begin with?
I would say as much as they can, write interesting, informative, excellent content. If we were doing a single page website, I would have, the hero section, which is, typically a picture of you or your trucks or whatever with a contact form and the buttons and so on. The next section down would be reviews and, here's feedback from our clients. Then you might have the services and you might have little boxes where you mention, hey, we do junk removal, residential, commercial, piano removal, furniture, clean outs, etc. You can get as detailed as you want there. Just make it, not this wall of text that people are going to have to wade through. If you can make it easy to navigate while still getting in some text about what you do and where you do it, that's really good. One thing you should have is like FAQ. If you can have pricing information on there as well, if you can have some location information on that page, that's a pretty well filled out homepage. And then as you add pages, you can then link over those little blurbs about the services to those specific service pages and start filling out and growing your website.
And do you have a company that you recommend for people to start off with for their basic website?
I mean, I'm going to plug ourselves. We do those one page websites, which you can then actually have us build some of those pages over time to add on to as it makes sense. Ronnie does an excellent job. There's a few of us out there, but obviously I'm going to plug ourselves because that is something we do, and we've helped a lot of people. Some of our best clients have been people that we started with 3 years ago with a simple one pager, and then we just continued growing it, and now they're on our full package SEO.
And what is like a starting price, we should be looking for that one page website? Like, what's the price range around?
It varies by agency. It's going to vary the quality that you get. Ours is 1,200, so that's basically the full onboarding. We're going to set the foundation up, and then from there you can add pages to it. Um, that's our price. We're looking at potentially some DIY options that we can help people with, and maybe a more templated version that people can jump in, maybe around the 500 mark. So ask us if you're looking. We'll probably have something for you within the next couple of weeks. Cameron and I have been looking at some of those packages, but currently that's kind of where we start. There's others that start cheaper. There's others that start higher, but somewhere in that mark is pretty reasonable.
And what's a good start as far as backup links? How many should you start on that one page? How many do you recommend, coming out the gate with?
As far as backlinks, I would
Backlinks, I'm
start
sorry.
focusing on uh, the quality right off the bat. I wouldn't focus so much on quantity. I would be actively pursuing them. Get on your 3 best rated locally, get on Nextdoor, get on Yelp, get on a couple of chambers of commerce. Yes, you're going to have to pay a yearly fee, but they're so valuable and so relevant. Reach out to your contractor buddies, reach out to your HVAC company, your plumber, your realtor, and say, hey, can I write a page, that can go in your blog about 5 things to do before you sell your home? And reach out to realtors and say, hey, can I do this content? Can you put it on your website and then have a little blurb in there that links back to yours? That is now a backlink to your website. You've provided value to them by creating a useful blog article that they can use to give to their clients, and then you get that link back to you and that mention on their site, which could lead to actual leads, or it could just be that wonderful internet juice pointing back to your website. So that's what I would focus on is again, quality over quantity. If it's a relationship that's real with a local business, you can get a link back. That's worth gold.
And how important is it to have a blog on your website? And how often should you be posting on that?
Quality over quantity again. The general, I don't think that a blog makes sense right out of the gate for someone if they just have a one page website. From an SEO perspective, if you're an interesting person and you're actually going to write interesting content about projects that you do, stuff like that, by all means, go for it. If you're just doing a blog for the sake of doing a blog, I wouldn't do it personally. I would focus on, okay, I've got a one page website. What's my next biggest service what's the biggest service that I want to focus on? Okay, Let's take hoarder cleanouts. Write a service page for that. Next one, piano removal. Next one, estate cleanouts. Next one, work through your service pages first and your location pages before you mess around too much with a blog if you're doing it yourself. That would be my recommendation and what I've seen work. Then over time, as you're saying, hey, I really want to get more strategic and rank for, let's say, hoarder cleanouts in, some suburb of Philadelphia. I don't know why I'm stuck on Philadelphia tonight, but we're running with it.
That's really good, actually, because my boy in here, 98 arm wrestling, that's the area he's in. So you just like nailed it, and he's probably there taking notes on this right now.
I love it. I love it. So let's say we've got hoarder cleanouts in Philadelphia, but we really want to focus in on a specific suburb of Philly for hoarder cleanouts. Now I would look at, okay, let's make some supporting content for that. Let's make a few blog articles on what to do if you run into a hoarder situation in XYZ suburb of Philly. Now you can start writing more interesting stuff for the blog and use it for SEO purposes. But as someone who's just starting out, I wouldn't get hung up on a blog. Everybody throws that term around. My thing is, there's about 100 different services in junk removal. Pick your top 20 and then start writing comprehensive service pages for all of those services. At least 500 to 750 words on each page. Not just regurgitated AI content, but you've used AI to probably write the base. You've then gone through and edited it to make it, relevant, useful, informative, talking about pricing, answering FAQs, all of that. Then once you've got those service pages built out, then you can, mess around with a blog. Or if you're like just a writer who's like hankering to write stuff, maybe you do start a blog, but I don't think most business owners are.
Can you explain the difference between on-page and off-page SEO?
On-page SEO is all the things that you do on your website when it comes to making your website as informative and accurate for Google when it's scanning it. So Google's looking to see, does it all make sense? Does your information line up? Do you tell us what you do and where you do it? So the title tags, the metadata, the H tags. The title tag is a little bit of words at the top of your tab on your browser. Your H tag is typically the heading on your website. The metadata is the little blurb in the search results that's like, forget about it, junk removal. And then underneath in the search results, it says, best junk removal services in XYZ location, right? Are you labeling your pictures? Are you putting alt text on your pictures? Are you, talking about where you work, what you do? Do you have a little link to your Google business profile? That's all on page. Are you interlinking the pages? Are you linking from the home page to your service pages? Are you, doing all the little things that you can control on your website to make it, pop for SEO? That's on page. Off page is backlinks. It's linking back from social media. It's including, here's a hack for people, by the way, when it comes to social media. If you make a post, make the post, if you can include a picture of yourself, that's something that a lot of people don't do, but should be doing, post a video, do a live video, whatever. And then in the comments, just link to your website. Hey, if you want to check us out, here's our website, here's our Google business profile, see our reviews. While not technically a backlink, it is a social mention of your website. It's a brand mention of your website, and Google's looking at that all the time. How many times was this business mentioned? If people are talking about your website and your business on Facebook, you can sometimes rank your Facebook page higher than your website. So I feel like I went off track there a little bit, but yeah, we were talking about on page. Yeah. So mentions on social media, backlinks. Do you have your directory listings filled out? Is your Google business profile filled out? Are you getting other websites to link back to you? That's all the off page stuff. And the two of them done properly together, on page and off page, it's this match made in heaven, and that's when Google really starts picking things up.
We got a question from Mr. Peanut. He says, hoarder cleanout, biohazard, and dealing with chemical disposal. What is the strategy to deal with unrecognized, unidentified issues after acceptance of job?
I don't have direct experiential knowledge of that. I can't speak to that super strongly. I think in all the random projects and things that I've taken on, sometimes you run into things, and sometimes you learn or you lose some money and you decide never to do that again, or you say you put something in your contract that says, hey, we may run into things on this job and we may need to communicate that to you. I know people that do that very effectively, and you provide yourself that cushion. The client knows up front that, hey, we haven't been able to see everything before we get into this. We're going to let you know, but there may be some hidden stuff that we can't foresee.
We got a question from Vanishing Junk Trunk. He says, sometimes I can't answer the phone. I do return calls soon as I can. Do you know any junk removal companies that use answering services successfully? Do you know if Ronnie offers that?
I don't know if Ronnie offers that. I know many junk removal companies that use answering services successfully. I know junk removal companies that have taught VAs to do it. Andrew is one of them. Sean with Junksmiths is doing that. There's several companies out there that I know of personally that are doing it. Answering the phone is really important. If you can get someone to answer the phone or call back immediately, I believe that I may have the stat wrong on this, but I believe it's after the first minute, your chances of landing that sale go down 80% if
Wow.
you don't call back. It's really quite astonishing, because they're just going to call someone else, and they're going to, a lot of times I'm the same way. Whoever answers the phone first gets the job. You're going to have them come out. You want it done right away. Unless there's major red flags. So you are losing jobs, statistically, if you're not answering right away or calling them back right away. One of the things you can do, I think you can do this with autopilot. You can do this with Go High Level. You can basically have a tracking number set up so that they call the tracking number, and if no one picks up, you can send a text immediately and say, "Hey, sorry, Susan, we couldn't get back to you. We're just on a job right now, but you can book in here. You can fill out some details, and we'll call you back immediately." That's one way to kind of reduce that a little bit. The other is to just have someone answering the phone, all the time, or calling back right away.
And for the guys that don't know what Autopilot is made from Andrew Thompson. He's put
Yeah.
this whole program together from all his experience of running Jedi junk. He's like one of those tech geeks. He really knows, the tech stuff. And, I just actually came an investor with Autopilot, and you just touched on the tracking numbers, and I'm just beginning starting my business, and I got everything on different tracking numbers. Even the truck wrap with the logo on it, I have that. Its own phone number. My yard signs are a different phone number. So this is just a simple way of seeing what marketing is successful for you and where you could be putting more money into and all. And I think it was just a great idea to do. Andrew's on top of it. He's in the beta testing right now, so there is a great deal right now. I think it's a $50 a month. And if you see a lot of those other services, they're a lot more expensive. So if you could get in right now, and be grandfathered in with that price, it is just an amazing thing. And you're kind of going to help him develop this app and even make it better. He's asking for everybody's constructive criticism. So if you find something that you want added in there, you run it by Andrew, and if enough people agree with that, he'll make the necessary changes. So definitely check him out. He's doing great things. It's called Autopilot. I know he's going to be doing the beta 2 testing. I think it's October 25th at the Junk Expo. He'll be launching that as well. So great time to get involved in it and check it out. And he's got so many helpful things in there as far as with the text sequencing. So if you get some your customer log, you log them into your book, and then you could set it on a timeline where in like 2 months after you do the job with them, they just get an automatic text and is trying to get repeat business. And I think that's going to save a lot of people a lot of time and bring in repeat business, which we know is one of the best things in the junk removal business for sure.
Huge. Yeah. Yeah. Tracking numbers. You hit the nail on the head with tracking numbers. Some people are like, oh, they're, not going to remember my number. Think about the numbers that you remember. I mean, my generation, I know my dad's number, my phone number, and my wife's number. I don't know anybody else's phone number. And I'm just going to Google it and, call the number that's there. So, yeah, tracking numbers are really important to track where your leads are coming from.